Today marks 100 years since the birth of Nelson Mandela. The revered former statesman remains a global icon for his long struggle against white minority apartheid rule and for his message of peace and reconciliation after almost 3 decades of imprisonment. But with inequality still rampant in South Africa, some young people have begun to criticise his legacy. Nomsa Maseko reports from Johannesburg.
There are many people who feel that it is useless and futile for us to continue talking peace and non-violence.
From the call for armed struggle to the voice of reconciliation, Nelson Mandela took many journeys in his life. The global icon would have been celebrating his 100th birthday today. World-renowned photographer Oscar Gutierrez documented South Africa's transition into democracy and followed Mandela closely through his lens.
I won't be surprised that one day the Catholic Church will say he was one of us. He was an angel. Somehow things take time, but I won't be surprised 100, 200 years from now, or maybe early, he was an angel.
But not everyone feels this way. Young activist Yolanda Janji says Nelson Mandela and his generation should be left in the past.
We still have Nelson Mandela shoved down our throats, literally, as the only stalwart or only struggle icon that contributed to, the freedom that we supposedly have. I'm not going to worship Nelson Mandela. He did what he did. Thanks, but he wasn't the only person.
Researcher and author Sam Fenter, who recently released a compilation of letters Nelson Mandela wrote while imprisoned, feels the criticism is unwarranted.
I think it's very unfair on Madiba and his generation because they did what they could do and what they had to do. And their job was to bring about democracy. And I think what Madiba's legacy is now is saying to the whole world, if you want anything to work, focus on human rights, equality. We can't separate human beings. We can't bring about more violence. The only way the world is going to survive is if we follow these kind of values.
But in a country struggling with unemployment, discontent, and the ever-increasing inequality gap, Nelson Mandela's ideals will continue to be re-examined.
We're so fixated on the past. The past is ruined. The past it's ruining us presently. But we can just take the lessons and move forward. And taking those lessons means leaving behind Nelson Mandela.
Nomsa Maseko, BBC News, Johannesburg.